I am Jiří Suchánek and I am from Czech Republic, from Brno. And I found myself as a sound artist and media artist or whatever. I like to experiment with different forms, which in the center usually have sound as an expressive medium or some principle that interests me. Maybe this is the way how I work, is that I try to explore some method and the result is surprise for me. I like to be surprised by the art that I do. So usually I don't have exact form how it will look, or it's really similar to, let's say, science experiments that I don't know what the outcome will be, and that's the game how I create art or what it is. For KIBLA I put together an exhibition where I collect eight objects actually, and it's quite big for me to put this amount together. So I'm quite curious how this will work. I hope it's still the surprise for me when I will turn everything on. And it's the combination of my older works and some newer. Like this one I built this year, and for KIBLA I created a special new piece called Lambda mirror that makes the title of the exhibition. And probably it is the principle of many of my objects that I work with some wavelength, light and sound, and reflecting it somehow or sensing. So also when I, for example, measure the surface of the stone, this also play with the laser light, invisible light used as a sensor. So mirroring, reflecting, and composing with the objects, composing with the system. For me, this is still the music, but I found quite typical for this media work and a little bit problematic. That for me the sound is most important, but it comes on let's say on the line, or to exactly to do it at the end of everything, because I need to build everything like physical structure, codes and so on. So compared to regular composition, where you really do from beginning your compositional work, here it's the principle is the kind of idea, but the execution in materials and codes takes so much time that fine-tuning of the sound is usually at the end. But because the works that are here, for example the Perplex, it's quite old, so it's like, I don't know, 7th iteration of the code. So this object is called Perplex. It's from 2018, and it uses obsolete technique used for detecting aircraft in Great Britain. It was predecessor of a radar, but like the parabola, it's quite simple physical, mechanical, acoustical mirror that concentrate the acoustic field into certain point, and it amplifies. And I was thinking if I can use it for distributing the sound in the space. It somehow works, and it has some significant qualities that is present. There are 3 objects. They each share the same bank of sounds that are randomly selected, and so it's kind of algorithmic composition altogether with playing, stopping, changing the speed, changing the sound that is played during the rotation, where you can see how light and sound is mirrored or reflected in the same way. I quite like this phenomenon when the light is kind of changing, and at the same time you perceive it with your ears. It's same reflection but different type of emission, let's say frequency emission, light and sound, but it's completely physical. I quite admire this physical filtering, let's call it. And all these 3 objects generates kind of environment that is recombining. This is pretty wild. And in this version for KiBLA, I put these new sounds. Before I was using just synthesized stable frequencies during the rotation phase, but now I decided to use more complicated sounds, and behind there is always just white noise, quite quiet, and it is just only for reference, where you can hear like this pure acoustic phenomenon. And it's called Perplex, and I'm also asking if and how can we complicate the situation with just static source, or if there is some analogy to, let's say, information sphere, where informations are reflecting, rebouncing in society, so it's kind of possible background I see in this principle. But the output might be, let's say, algorithmic composition. So this project is called Geophonia. It's a sort of collaborative project actually. We did it together with Filip Dobrodsky, who helped me with the hardware and software solution for this object, which I quite like sometimes to cooperate with other artists. The principle is that stone is meant as a score, and the surface of the stone is measured by the sensor that sends the distance to the software that is here, and is modulating the field recording that we did in the quarry Hady in Brno, where the limestone is originated, or where is the source of the stone. And then by moving around the stone, it kind of change the manipulation of this field recording. And again, as similar to Perplex, there are more of these objects, and they somehow combine together. They are driven by the central unit that sends some changes in speed, direction, some tuning, some parameters. So it's like the reading or measuring is always kind of subjective, or interpretation of the data is subjective. This is something I like about sonification, that there is no one truth of how things can be presented. So this is one way of how stones can sound.